Let's be honest. Emotional intelligence is the most overused, misunderstood, and misrepresented concept of our time. Most people are emotionally dumb, and they don't even know it. I'm not perfect, but I like to think of myself as pretty self-aware about who I am. And one thing I've noticed, I know, sounds harsh, but let's be real. Emotional intelligence is the most misunderstood concept of the 21st century. It's become one of those buzzwords that everyone throws around, but almost nobody actually has. It's like gaslighting, narcissist, trauma bonding, high-value man, child, woman, and soft life. People just slap it onto conversations like seasoning, hoping it makes them sound deep. And yet, the same people who claim to be emotionally intelligent are the first ones to lose their minds the moment they feel slightly uncomfortable. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying this is just women. I've seen both men and women completely fail at emotional intelligence. But since I'm talking from my own experience, most of my examples will involve women. Because, well, that's who I interact with the most in dating. For example, I see this all the time on dating apps. Women love saying things like, I need a man with emotional intelligence, or I want deep conversations. Sounds great, right? Who doesn't want deep, meaningful conversations? But the second you challenge their beliefs or make them feel something uncomfortable, boom, suddenly you're the bad guy. They start acting distant, taking longer to reply, or giving those one-word responses until you get the hint. Or worse, they hit you with the classic, I just feel like we're not aligned after one disagreement. When 5 minutes ago, they were talking about how much they love open communication. Now here's something I've noticed. It's very easy to have surface-level conversations with the opposite sex when you're not looking for anything serious. If you're just having fun, going with the flow, or keeping things light, conversations feel effortless. But the moment you decide you actually want something serious, that's when the real conversations need to happen. And this is where things get messy. Because a lot of people say they want something deep, but when it's time to have those conversations, they can't handle it. That's when you realize most people don't actually want deep conversations. They want comfortable conversations. They want to talk about things that feel deep, but only if it validates what they already believe. Here's the problem. Most people don't actually want deep conversations. They want comfortable conversations. They want to talk about things that feel deep, but only if it validates what they already believe. The moment you introduce a perspective that challenges their emotional comfort zone, the conversation stops being deep and suddenly becomes negative. And that's the difference between real emotional intelligence and just wanting to feel good. Here's where things get even more interesting. One of the biggest reasons men and women clash in relationships is because we have different ways of handling emotions. Most women process emotions through connection and empathy. They want to be heard, validated, and understood first. Most men process emotions through logic and problem solving. They want to fix the issue and move forward. And this is why things get messy. Let's say I'm talking to a girl and she's venting about something that's bothering her. Naturally, my first instinct as a man is to offer a solution. But instead of appreciating it, she gets frustrated and says, "You're not listening to me." But in my mind, I'm thinking, I am listening. I just told you exactly how to fix it. Meanwhile, if a guy comes to a woman with a problem, her first instinct is usually to empathize, to make him feel emotionally supported. But if he just wants direct advice, he might feel like she's overcomplicating things. Neither approach is wrong. They're just different. And if you don't understand this difference, it can feel like the other person isn't emotionally intelligent, when really they just have a different style of emotional processing. Although you do have the exceptions when women can be logical and men can be emotional. But right now, I'm just talking about my experiences. So, today, we're breaking down what emotional intelligence actually is, why most people completely misunderstand it, and how different personality types process it. As an ENTP, I process emotional intelligence differently than, say, an INFJ or an ISFJ. My version of emotional intelligence isn't about soothing feelings. It's about breaking down why emotions happen in the first place. Because, let's be real, an INTJ's version of emotional intelligence is not the same as an ENFJ's. And if you're neurodivergent, society might not even recognize your emotional intelligence at all. We'll also talk about how to develop it without turning into one of those fake, I'm so emotionally evolved types. Alright, let's get into it. Before we define emotional intelligence, let me tell you a quick story. So, I was having a conversation with someone. Let's just say, a woman I was interested in. We were talking about relationships, and she said, I just need a man who communicates well and understands emotions. Cool, right? So I ask her, what does emotional intelligence mean to you? She goes, it means a man who listens and understands my feelings. Okay, fair enough. So then I ask, do you think emotional intelligence also means managing your own emotions instead of just expecting others to cater to them? And you'd think I insulted her entire bloodline. Suddenly, she gets defensive. Her tone changes. She says, why are you being so negative? You're over-analyzing this. Translation, I actually have no idea what emotional intelligence really is. I just like how the phrase sounds. So yeah, that was my first red flag that most people just want emotional validation, not actual emotional intelligence. Alright, let's clear something up. Emotional intelligence is not being nice all the time. Catering to everyone's feelings like a human emotional support animal. Never offending anyone. Crying and calling it self-awareness. Using emotions as an excuse for bad behavior. It's like when people say, that's just my truth. As if truth is customizable like a Netflix plan. No, your feelings aren't truth. Truth is truth. Your feelings are just how you react to it. Think of it like this. Your emotions are the weather. If you have emotional intelligence, you don't let a little rain ruin your whole week. You adjust, plan, and move on. But most people, they feel a little drizzle, and suddenly they're in a full-blown existential crisis. Alright, so what does real emotional intelligence actually look like? Here are 4 signs you have it. 1. You can separate feelings from facts. Feelings are valid, but they are not facts. Example. You get constructive criticism at work. Low emotional intelligence reaction. Oh my god, they hate me. High emotional intelligence reaction. Alright, how can I use this feedback to improve? If you can pause, process, and separate emotion from reality, congratulations. You're ahead of 95% of people. You control your reactions instead of letting them control you. Ever seen someone completely lose their mind over something small? Like those people who start full-scale wars in the comment section over pineapple on pizza. That's low emotional intelligence in action. The most emotionally intelligent people, they don't react instantly. They sit back, analyze, and decide, is this worth my energy? Will this matter in a week? Is this person even worth responding to? Most of the time, it's not worth it. You can read the room like a pro. Example, low emotional intelligence. Oh, your dog just died. Let me tell you about my hilarious weekend. High emotional intelligence. Damn, I'm sorry. That must be rough. Need to talk? Big difference. You don't let your emotions hijack your decision making. I'm mad, so I'm quitting my job. I feel hurt, so I'm ending this friendship. I feel lonely, so I'm texting my toxic ex. You see the problem? Emotions are temporary. Bad decisions last forever. People with real emotional intelligence don't make decisions in emotional storms. They pause, wait for the emotions to settle, and then decide. Alright, so let's recap. Emotional intelligence is not about being overly sensitive, always agreeable, or avoiding tough conversations. It's about separating emotions from facts, controlling your reactions, reading the room, making decisions with a clear mind. And the best part? Once you develop emotional intelligence, you become almost untouchable. Let me know in the comments what the dumbest emotionally reactive moment you've ever witnessed was. I need some entertainment. So, next time someone says they want emotional intelligence, ask yourself, do they really? Or do they just want someone who won't challenge them? Alright, I'll catch you in the next one. Stay sharp.